103.2 Preston FM.
Keeping it local. Have you got any comments, views or suggestions for the Guild Hall? On Monday the 7th of July, Hughie will be talking to the possible future manager of the Guild Hall, Richard Simpkins. Send us your comments, suggestions or questions to chatcity@preston.fm.
Now, if you're in Preston and surrounding areas, then you've probably seen the headlines on the boards around Preston this morning. And if you're not in Preston and you're listening around the world and you're a Prestonian, and we have lots of those, or if you're non-Prestonian, it's lovely to welcome my next guest into the studio, who is Simon Rigby, and also Richard Simpkin, who is head of operations at the Guild Hall. That's the information I've given. Am I right there, Richard?
The future operations.
The future. You see, a Freudian slip. Find out on Friday, a Freudian slip. So the headlines this morning is that Simon Rigby is interested. Simon is a local catering and entertainment entrepreneur who would like to invest $1 million into the venue here in Preston. And I must admit, it's a thrill, because I love live music and theatre, to think that maybe we're going to retain it in Preston and maybe bring to Preston what I saw in Blackpool last night on a Tuesday night. Simon, can it be done?
Well, the Guild Hall's always been the beating heart right at the centre of Preston. The thought of it being closed down was a complete anathema to me. We have a very successful catering and events business, amongst other things, and well, I think it's very good that the council are giving local business the opportunity to get the Guild Hall onto a proper commercial footing, and we are absolutely convinced that there won't be any issue with us making a success of the Guild Hall. It's a great central venue with a lot going for it, with sensible investment in the right areas. We're convinced that we can get the heart beating as strong as ever.
And I suppose what is nice, Simon, is that you are a local guy. I mean, you come from a dairy farming family based close to Lytham on the Fylde coast here. So you are a local guy.
I most definitely class myself as a Prestonian, and I accept Wharton. People in Lytham might say that we're near Lytham, but we always felt that it was Wharton near Preston, and certainly I've been brought up that way. I've been all over the world, and I've done very well for myself, but I've returned to my roots in Preston now. And I think if you look at lots of the civic centres, they've been built in the past by local businesses and local businessmen who are putting the shoulder to the wheel to assist the local community in what they do. I'm very fortunate. I've got a young and ambitious management team that work for me, who will, I'm convinced, make a very big success of the Guild Hall for the benefit of wider Preston. I mean, of course, you'd like to think that we will make a reasonable return on the investments which we make there, but that's not our primary motivation as things stand. The primary motivation is to get life breathed back into the Guild Hall. We've got half a dozen retailers waiting to move in there as soon as we give them certainty about the future of the building. There's a lot of improvements we want to do to the exterior of the building. Of course, that's subject to planning permission, but we see ourselves working hopefully in partnership with Preston City Council and Preston communities in the wider sense for years and years to come, to make the Guild Hall back into the success it was.
Because, I mean, it is quite an unusual building. I mean, I've been along there since I've been living in Preston quite a lot. And, I mean, over the years, I mean, we used to have the snooker that was televised from Preston. We've had some very big names that have appeared here in Preston. And the news this week that also we're possibly going to be losing 53 Degrees in Preston, which is another live music venue, does mean that we could then have a focus on trying to get the big names back into Preston. What would you like to see that would attract people going along to that venue?
Right, well, really, society is getting much more fragmented, and we need to find a proper niche for the Guild Hall. One of the problems you have, the very big bands, they want, 105% of ticket income in order to come and play at your venue. And you have to make your money out of the bolt-ons and additional services which are provided, which we're in a very good position to do. But in all seriousness, I don't see the Guildhall being able to attract massive bands. We see the focus being very much on new and emerging artists being given an opportunity there and working their way, if you like, through the Guildhall onto bigger venues. We do see perhaps some of the shall I say, more established bands who are doing latter tours coming along there. I've been to the MEN, which holds almost 20,000 people, and seen an act perform to 1,800 people. Now that's no good for the act, it's no good for the MEN, but acts like that are perfect for the Guildhall. We'd also like to see, tribute snooker matches there. What snooker player wouldn't want to come back to the Guildhall, do an exhibition match there? And Richard and his team have got hundreds of different ideas, different activities which we can be doing there, and there is no silver bullet, there's no magic solution to this. If there had have been, then Preston City Council would have applied it themselves. We need to roll our sleeves up and work very hard to reverse the trend of decline which has surrounded the Guildhall for many years now, and put it on an upward trajectory.
And a regular visitor on Chat City is in fact leader of Preston City Council, Peter Rankin, and Peter has said that you've put forward an exciting and ambitious proposal for the Guildhall, that you have real vision and passion for the Guildhall and clearly see a great potential in it. So at the moment, how does that move forward? I believe the proposal that you've put forward, is it yourself and two other partners?
And a number of local businesses are collaborating on moving the Guildhall forward, but the investment which is being made on the premises is being made by me, but very prominent local firm of architects, Frank Whittle Partners, are looking after the designs. Local commercial agent Roger Parker and Co are looking after the retail side of things. So it's a collaboration of local businesses working to their skills to move the thing forward. Our skill is running, or Richard's skill is running live entertainment venues, and that's what we're going to do here. I do think that Peter Rankin is absolutely correct in that we do have a passion for Preston. We want to see the Guildhall succeed, and we're very grateful to the council giving us the opportunity. Specifically, what happens next is there's a paper been published today in which Councillor Rankin recommends disposal of the Guildhall to ourselves. That goes to Cabinet on Friday. If it's approved by Cabinet on Friday, then the sale progresses, legal contracts are drawn up, and I would say that we're pretty much in the stage now where it's sold subject to contract, which I think we probably all understand those terms. It's virtually all agreed. The lawyers take over now, and hopefully the 1st of October ownership transfers to ourselves. But again, to be fair to the council, from Monday we're open for business again at the Guildhall. Richard's taking bookings for post-April next year, which has been, if you like, its cut-off date on that basis. The council's protected because if we don't complete, then we have to compensate the council for the bookings which we've made. But of course, Richard needs to get on now and get booking the acts for next summer and next winter. These, if we want to get the right sort of people coming along to this, these decisions aren't made a few weeks in advance, they're made many months in advance, and are detailed logistic planning exercises which take place. Perhaps one of the more exciting plans which we have for the Guildhall is we do actually want to see it as almost like an incubator unit for the development of local businesses. We've got in UCLan, no university in the country creates more new businesses the new clan, but so many of those students go off back to where they've come from to set those businesses up. And we want to give a opportunity to budding retailers to actually have an incubator unit in the Guild Hall to actually grow and develop the business. Now, that is an act of philanthropy, yes it is, but it's also an act of good common sense to us, because you get young, vibrant businesses in the Guild Hall. You get into an upward spiral, please, on this. The loss of 53 Degrees, of course, is not a good thing for the live music scene in Preston. Of course it isn't. For the Guild Hall itself, though, Richard and his team are looking at what's sold out there year in, year out for the last few years. Those are the acts which we should have at the Guild Hall, and therefore this won't be lost to Preston. Rather than having two lame ducks, we hope to have one. World class is a much overused term, but certainly something which Preston City can be proud of, rather than a boarded up Guild Hall right at the centre of its town.
I totally agree with those sentiments, and I would also add that deserves as a city. Richard, maybe I could then come to you. I was just saying, I go to theatre all the time around the area. I was in Blackpool last night, Tuesday night, at the grand, beautiful building, as we all know. Yeah. It was packed out for a Tuesday evening. And I've always thought, why can't we do this in Preston? Why can't we? You know, we've got two theatres there within the centre. What I have seen here in Preston has been some brilliant amateur productions, musical amateur productions that have been well supported. What would you like to see, or who would you like to see appearing here in Preston?
Well, we're going to act as like Simon says, as an incubator. We're going to look at up-and-coming talent, and this is for both the Guild Hall, the Grand Hall itself, and for the Charter Theatre. So we're going to focus on the two aspects that we have there already, and just look at the up-and-coming theatrical productions that want to put on a show. Millie, your colleague, mentioned that you've had quite a lot of interest from people asking about the community events.
Yes.
And whether we're going to carry on with the community events, and absolutely, we guarantee that we will support any community event that wants to put on a production at on the Charter Theatre. We already have a list that's been provided to us, and we can guarantee that list and more, because that list has dwindled down, sadly, in the last 3 or 4 years. It's gone from in the late 20s to about 15 this year, so we're looking to improve that list to back into the mid-20s and beyond, and we'll definitely see to it that nobody with any clear budget issues to put on a show production in the theatre will be turned away by us. So that's definitely not going to happen.
Right, I'm sure lots of people will enjoy hearing that bit of news. What about it as a home for the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic? I mean, sadly, I always think that the acoustics lead a lot to be desired when the Liverpool Phil are here, but could you see them retaining a home in Preston?
Certainly, and if the acoustics is an issue, then we can definitely look to try and rectify that. I'm sure there will be an end game to that issue. We've got all the tools there for the market, and we'll definitely see to it that they are guaranteed to be put on. I know they've been put on recently, and we want them to stay for the future, that's for sure.
It must be, for both of you, an exciting challenge ahead. It must be, I know, Simon, that you own the villa over there in Ray Green and a hotel in Kirkham. So this must be an exciting challenge.
It is. I mean, one of the benefits of running a wide and diversified portfolio of businesses, we have 16 businesses, we employ over 1,100 people. It's very good to have such a large pool of talent to draw on. And, you know, me taking on the Guild Hall and booking events, you know, it'd be wall-to-wall ELO and shawaddy-waddy, which I'm sure people of a certain age like myself wouldn't complain about. But we certainly need, you know, younger and not lots of ways, absolutely brighter people like Richard and the creative team, which we're going to put together there, to actually see ourselves develop all the talents which Preston have got to offer, and moving on from there, hopefully even using the Guild Hall as a base for wider entertainment in the area, not just being, if you like, bound by the confines of the Guild Hall, but looking beyond that and we hope to be working in partnership with the council, with other local businesses, to bring some major attractions there. But one of the good things about the Guild Hall, I've been going there for, the school prize giving for years. UCLan graduations are there as well. These are all good uses of the hall, and they're all things which we are happy to continue. And I think as a commercial operator, it's going to be much easier for us to move, shall I say, with the cut and thrust of modern business. I do think that the council, in lots of ways rightly, have been having to stick to a very prescriptive menu and costs for booking the events there, whereas we can take much more of a commercial view. So when Preston FM are sponsoring Michael Bublé to come to Kirkham
and introducing him,
we will be able to facilitate that with them at the Guild Hall or wherever that is appropriate around here. So we do see ourselves very much, if you like, being the specialist providers of facilities for all range of events, and there is no single answer to the Guild Hall's ills. Getting the shops going is part of the answer, getting very good food courts there is part of the answer, and a whole eclectic mix of different genres there is part of it as well. And as a season ticket holder to the Phil, I've not spoken to about it, but I would be devastated if the Phil didn't carry on coming here for many, many, many decades to come. And certainly we will leave no stone unturned in facilitating that.
And Richard, how will you kind of do the PR to have a look at maybe what people want to see in Preston? I mean, one of the things we've got in Preston is a very, very large student community, and across Europe, one of the biggest these days, and also the most kind of stable, where very seldom people leave this university. So how will you do the PR to find out what people want in Preston, entertainment-wise?
Well, in our business plan, we've gone into a lot of detail. The document's over 100 pages long, in our sales and marketing section is roughly about 19-20 pages, and we list and go through all avenues that you can expect in the modern day of social media, radio, obviously come on a radio station like yourselves, everything, anything that you can imagine that you should do in PR and media marketing that we're gonna go down.
And this is one of the things that it's not good 53 degrees closer, of course it isn't, but what it does mean that Richard and his team can work very closely with the student union to see what works well for them, what sort of events they will be putting on. I would like to think, and we've not spoken to them yet, I mean this is still nothing to speak about because it's all subject to contract. That's why we've not spoken to Liverpool Phil, because there's nothing to talk about at the moment.
Yes.
The minute there is, we want to talk to the student union about what were their ambitions for 53 degrees, what were the things that worked well for them, how did they source up and coming events, and we want to work in partnership with them now to deliver that. It's good business for them, it's good business for us, and of course as corporates get involved, we're not as corporate as a city council, but nonetheless we're old fuddy-duddies. but what we need to do is stay close to the community. Social media is such a huge help these days on keeping us in touch with what's going on, and at the end of the day people will vote with their feet, and we are bothered about commercial success.
Lovely.
And therefore it's good business to listen to the social media.
Well, thank you both for coming in. I look forward hopefully to meeting you soon again, and particularly hearing what happens at the council meeting on Friday. Quite a few questions that have come in you've answered, but one just quickly and then I need to move on is will you retain the New Year's Eve party that many seem to love to attend?
We certainly will, yeah. We've put that into our future calendar of events, the New Year's Eve Gala. That'll be definitely on the cards for in the Grand Hall. I believe that's where it's staged, and it's definitely something that we're going to have on in the future.
Oh, brilliant. Well, can I thank you? That's Simon Rigby and Richard Simpkins. So you see, you didn't have to wait to buy a local evening newspaper. You heard it here on Chat City, your local magazine programme. So a big thank you to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For all the latest community news and events,
103.2 Preston FM.
Your community, your radio.
Don't forget, if you've got some questions for Richard Simpkins, possible future manager of Preston Guild Hall. Send them to us at chatcity@preston.fm and Hughie will ask him live on Monday the 7th of July.